This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
Hello and welcome back to the latest edition of the Bullscast with me, George Holloway. Hereford made it 2 wins from 2 this week as they overcame Worksop and Leamington to move closer to safety in the National League North. We'll review both games, discuss the emergence of George Munday after he scored his first senior hat-trick on Tuesday night, and look ahead to a huge week for the Bulls as they welcome the league's top 2 sides, South Shields and Fylde, to Edgar Street. To do all of that, I'm joined, of course, by Keith Hall. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. It's great to have you along, and it's safe to say, Keith, we're all in a buoyant mood after Hereford's 5-1 win over Leamington on Tuesday. The Bulls marking their return to Edgar Street in style and making it 2 wins on the spin. Not a bad week for Hereford boss Aaron Downs.
Yeah, terrific 7 days, isn't it, for Aaron Downs in particular. He's obviously got the club going, got the players going, and everybody's got smiles on their faces because of those victories. I did think they'd be tough at Worksop and then at home to Leamington. You were a little bit anxious that something would go amiss, but generally it's worked out really well, hasn't it? 13 points now from 6 games played.
Let's start our analysis then with the 3-2 win at Worksop on Saturday. And instead of conceding early, as they have done so often this season, Keith, they took the lead inside 4 minutes through Andy Williams.
Yeah, it was good to see Hereford getting on top early in the game, got control of it as a result of that. Worksop were really hard working and they fly into challenges. They don't give you any time on the ball at all, but it's good to see Hereford getting those sequences of passes going. And there was Andy Williams to finish it off. And
Keziah Martin and Keenan Kwanzaa giving the Bulls a commanding lead, Keith.
Yeah, I think that third goal was so crucial just before the half-time interval. And it came from a corner which was partially cleared, I think, originally. And then Sonner put the ball in towards the far post. And it looked to me as though the Tigers' defence were all looking at Kyle Howkins at the far post. And it just sort of dropped over his shoulder, and there was Keenan Kwanzaa to bury it into the back of the net with a header to give Hereford an outstanding 3-0 half-time lead. But there was one really anxious moment before Hereford scored that third goal, and that was a superb, stunning save by Theo Richardson from point-blank range. I thought it was in whilst I was doing the commentary. He just stuck his arm up, reactive save. Even then I thought, well, he's probably pushed it into the top of the net, but he didn't. He just got enough onto it for the ball to loop up over the top of the crossbar and secure a clean sheet at that stage. And it was so important, I think, to keep Worksop quiet as much as they could in the first 45.
Best save you've seen live this season?
It's got to be up there, isn't it? Absolutely outstanding save. Somebody, a supporter I was talking to, said, oh, well, even Gordon Banks couldn't make that save. And, you know, he was probably one of the best, if not the best, England keeper we've ever seen. It was just the reflexes that were so quick, and that's what kept it out.
So Hereford went into the break with a commanding 3-0 lead, but the second half got off to a bit of a shaky start, Keith, when Worksop came back into the game through Luke Witham's 47th minute goal.
Yeah, a bit of a stunner, wasn't it, as far as they're concerned, and absolutely rifling it in to the corner of the net from distance. But I expected a bit of a response from Worksop, because effectively the game, they'd already lost the game, it was 3-0. And yet they've been very aggressive, very quick in the tackle, and they seemed to me to be a very difficult team to play against. Bouncy pitch as we would expect, and they wouldn't give the players any time at all on the ball. So I think when Hereford were able to do that, they were able to dominate it. But then when Worksop really became super aggressive, if you like, throwing caution to the wind in terms of getting tackles in and closing people down, you can see why they were difficult to beat at Worksop. And they gave Hereford a bit of a scare, didn't they, in that match?
Hereford clinical in the first half, but they had to dig in the second. And Jay Rollins' goal on 80 minutes made the last 10 minutes very nervy for Bulls fans.
Yeah, he did. He attacked at the far post, didn't he? And powered in the header to make it really fraught last few minutes. Supporters, biting nails, whatever, at home. 2-3. And it was a question of, can Hereford secure the full 3 points that everybody following Hereford were hoping for? And they were resolute, and they just determined to keep the ball as much as they could despite the intensity of Worksop coming at them. And it was intriguing to see the ball up in Worksop's half as much as possible in added stoppage time. It's very important, I felt. Hereford just kept that ball away from the penalty box, the Hereford's own penalty area, as much as possible. And I thought they did that really well, closed the game out, and that's what you want to happen.
Yeah, the answer to the question, could they hold on, was an emphatic yes. A really impressive win, Keith, considering a tricky surface and where Worksop Town were in the league compared to Hereford.
Yeah, and Aaron Martin was putting himself about up front. I described him as a bit of a professional boxer almost up front, because he was getting in there. He's got all the goals for Worksop pretty much. They do rely on him as the main battering ram, let's put it that way. And if you're not dealing with it as a defender, Worksop are going to upset you. They're going to get the better of you if you're not able to withstand it. And it was very interesting that Matt Preston could have got sent off. He got a yellow card for like almost a scissors kick off the ground, which was a bit mistimed, I think. And as a result of that, he got a yellow card. Worksop fans were baying for him to get sent off. Any further transgression, and I think Hereford would have been down to 10 men. So it was so important that Aaron Downs had a great replacement coming on, and Carl Hankins made all difference. It was almost a like-for-like adjustment at the back, and he was then able to compete with Aaron Martin for the remaining 70 minutes or so. If Hereford hadn't got that cover, it might have been a different story.
Perhaps one of the changes we've seen from the Paul Caddis era, Keith, is Matt Preston and Carl Hawkins not necessarily working together as a partnership anymore, but one or the other partnering Keenan Kwanzaa instead.
Yeah, I think it's the emergence of Keenan Kwanzaa as that second centre half that's really made the difference. He's a lot quicker than the other two, and when he gets a consistent run, which is what he's getting at the moment, I think he for me, he was man of the match actually at Worksop. I'd probably give him a 9 out of 10 because he really worked hard throughout the game. He was shielding and he was sweeping up behind Hankins as much as he could, and he's got a little bit of pace, so if there's a slight error, he's usually there pouncing on it to try and clear it. So all in all, I think that's the combination that Aaron Downs will probably look to for the remainder of the season. I doubt we'll see Matt Preston alongside Carl Hankins again, but who knows, injuries, suspensions might play a part. I think that's been a really key major improvement in Hereford's back line.
Hereford returned to Edgar Street for the first time since January on Tuesday night, hoping to build on that win at Worksop. They were up against basement side Leamington with a lot of expectancy on their shoulders, but fell behind early yet again.
Yeah, I think in a large swathes of the ground we're thinking, oh dear, here we go again, conceding early within the first 10 minutes. That's happened so often this season. But what I would say now is there does seem an awful lot more spirit, that hunger to get back into the game, and there's that determination, that enthusiasm and energy got Hereford back into the match fairly quickly, and as a result of that, they were playing a little bit more expansively through midfield. I thought just for about 5 or 10 minutes Hereford tried to play too many longer diagonals, and the way that Aaron Downs has set his team up now with the individuals that Hereford have got, a little bit more creative, they're going to be much better when they're playing the ball through midfield and then looking for Munday, Daly wide on one side, maybe Keziah Martin on the other. And so it looks as though it's 4-1-4-1 for the majority of the time, but all of a sudden it becomes 4-3-3 with Daly on the one side, Martin on the other, and we saw the form that Munday is in at the moment with that hat-trick in the end, and he had another storming performance leading the line for Hereford. Hereford have now got 13 goals in the last 4 games, and Munday's got 5 of them in 7 appearances. I know it's a hat-trick, and he's bound to get man of the match because, obviously, if you get a hat-trick, you're going to get that award. But generally, I thought it was another team performance, battling back after they looked as though Leamington were going to come in. Perfect game plan from then, get an early goal, quieten the crowd down, get the crowd agitated and go from there. But Hereford were made of sterner stuff. They got the vigour and the courage to get back into the match.
What a lovely finish it was from George Munday, Keith, for the equalising goal.
Yeah, it was Aaron Skinner, wasn't it? Down this right-hand side. I think he perhaps thought he'd taken it a little bit too far, really, and the last little touch he had to race onto and caught it up just before the byline, cut it across to the near post, and there was, as you say, George Munday with a really good, impressive finish from very close range, but at an angle, an acute angle across the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. That really then inspired Hereford, and the crowd reacted with a big roar from the Meadow End, as if to say, yeah, we're back in this match, and we've got a lot more to come.
Yeah, you could see the energy and the pace in Hereford's play just quicken after that equalising goal. And just when we thought that the teams were going to go in level at the break, George Munday got his second of the game. An entirely different finish this time from the first, Keziah Martin striking from 25 yards out. But again, he showed how alert he was to pick up on the rebound.
Yeah, he responded well, didn't he? Attacked it in towards the penalty spot area as that ball bounced and ricocheted off the underside of the crossbar. And you have to be a certain strike, you have to be a player with that certain positivity to attack the ball. You're almost anticipating that it's going to come off the goalkeeper or the woodwork, and that's exactly what he did. And another composed finish into the back of the net, straight down the middle. And, the ground virtually erupted because Hereford are then ahead after such an awful setback within the first couple of minutes.
Somebody that was also alert inside the box was Harrison Sonner, who grabbed Hereford's third midway through the second half, Keith.
Again, a cluster of players to break through, wasn't there? I think it was Hudson was really fighting for it in a very congested penalty box, and the ball sort of deflected towards Sonner. And again, he was someone who attacked the ball from only a couple of yards out, but you've still got to be accurate, get the ball on target. That's exactly what he did at the near post. And from there, I thought Hereford were in control at 3-1. You didn't really see Leamington coming back into it. They fought really hard, especially in the first half, to contain Hereford. But as soon as we got that third goal, I just felt Hereford had too much quality for Leamington. And that's what happened in the end.
We both said in commentary how much we'd like to see George Munday get his hat-trick, and he got it on 76 minutes. And somebody who you really wanted to see come off the bench, Keith, Mikey Lane, was instrumental in Munday getting it.
He was a different style of striker, isn't he? We talked about it being a little bit Jason Cowley-like. He's quite aggressive, quite tenacious, and he'll upset defenders because he'll hassle them. He got the ball and sort of flicked it with the outside of his right foot. It was a really good pass. It may only have been 6 or 8 yards, but he could see Munday was to his right-hand side, and he flicked it into the path of Munday. Really good through ball, and it was just inviting Munday to say, here you go, here's your hat-trick chance. And once again, it was buried into the back of the net, and Munday was off celebrating.
And Andy Williams rounded things off in added time with a dink finish over the Leamington goalkeeper.
Well, he was desperate to come on, according to Aaron Downs, saying, give me 5 minutes, give me 10 minutes, whatever, because he could see Hereford were dominating Leamington at that stage, and these opportunities were opening up. But really credit to Williams, because he battled away for it just inside the Leamington half. He sort of, for once, held off a defender and got ahead of the last man. Out came the keeper, and it was a lovely little deft finish over the top of the keeper, Brewery, into the back of the net, and a complete rout then in the end. I'm sure Leamington supporters will feel that they have hard done by at 5-1, but you have to say the quality came through in the end, and that's why Leamington suffered one of their heaviest defeats of the season. I think just Hereford just had that extra skill level, really. The determination from Leamington was there, the fighting spirit certainly, but I felt with Aaron Downs in charge, the new players that he's got in, has completely lifted the whole environment at Edgar Street, and it's so great to be back there, and it's what you needed to see with nearly 2,500 inside the ground for a Tuesday night fixture, which I thought was very good indeed. And you obviously got the reward with that 5-1 win, when you expect sometimes Hereford get a decent crowd and it doesn't work out. But on this occasion, it most certainly did.
And the pitch looked fantastic.
It really did, didn't it? 95% of it. Obviously, that's that area that was relayed. Even that played pretty well. I think there was just the one run from Cormac Daly that I spotted, and the ball bobbled up before he had tried to get an attempted crossing by the corner flag. Other than that, there were a couple of slips in the surface, but then of course it was raining as well, so I wouldn't put it all down to the drainage issues. I thought Ben Bowen and the team and the volunteers, I have to say, because they worked really hard in the months leading up to the return to Edgar Street to get those areas sorted. It's taken a lot of good old manual forking of the pitch, I think, to get down into the depths, to get that drainage going right through the surface and take the water away rather than sitting 5 or 6 inches from the top surface. And so credit to the volunteers for putting their effort in. They normally just do stadium work, but I think they've been doing an awful lot of groundwork to help out, and everybody reaped the rewards.
Now, this is the first podcast we've done since Adam Rooney departed for Kings Lynn, and George Munday said in his post-match interview on Tuesday, Keith, that it was Rooney's contact at Cambridge United, Corey Smith, who helped get the deal over the line, and it looks like a really smart bit of business.
Yeah, he saw something in that others didn't. I think Munday had a spell at Bedford earlier in the season from Cambridge, and it didn't work out. I don't think he got game time at all. So obviously, Aaron Rooney had spotted some ability there, maybe a little bit of features from his career, saw something there, and obviously it was Paul Caddis who brought him in with Rooney. But it's one thing bringing a player in, it's then playing to his strengths. And that's what Hereford can do now, because they've got people in midfield especially that winning the ball, not necessarily giving it away too often. And when they try and get these little passing manoeuvres together, people are moving off the ball, creating opportunities, getting space, and they're able to get that ball through to the main striker, which in this case has been Munday. And he's got ammunition, if you like, now to score these very important goals.
There was a full fixture list in the National League North on Tuesday night. Alfreton drew 1-1 at home to Radcliffe thanks to George Cantrell's 88th minute equaliser. It finished Bedford 0, Worksop 2, Chorley 1, South Shields 1, Curzon Ashton 2, Oxford City 2, Darlington 0, Buxton 2, Fylde beat Telford by 2-1, while Kidderminster put 4 past Peterborough Sport at Agborough. It finished Marine 2, Macclesfield 4, Scarborough 1, Paul Caddis's Kings Lynn 1, Southport 2, Spennymoor 0, while Chester found a 97th minute winner to snatch a 2-1 win at Merthyr. So on to the league table then, and Fylde's win at home to Telford means they narrow the gap to league leaders South Shields to just 2 points. There's a 13-point gap back to Merthyr in third, who are on 66 points, while Kidderminster are right behind them on 65. At the other end of the table, Leamington remain bottom after their 5-1 defeat at Hereford. Peterborough Sport and Alfreton are both locked on 33 points, while Hereford move up to 21st with 35 points from 31 games. 1 point away from safety and Oxford City in 20th, who have played 6 games more than the Bulls. The games keep on coming for Hereford as they face league leaders South Shields at Edgar Street this Saturday, and it's a completely different challenge to the one Leamington posed.
I think this is the one game this year. I think, Hereford are going to have to be 9 out of 10 to get a result against South Shields. They are really the best team in the league. I think they are better than Fylde, and that's a result of really good coaching, I think, from Ian Watson. He's gone in there. He was assistant at Gateshead, MK Dons and Carlisle, and they play in a certain way, and they've got an out-and-out striker in Paul Blackett who scores the goals for them. But it's their style of play, again, through the midfield. It could be quite an open game in that respect, and so it might well be really worth watching. Hereford getting goals themselves in recent weeks. And so if South Shields decide to be an open and expansive team that attack Hereford, it could go either way. But with just 2 National League North away defeats all season, they've only lost to Merthyr and Macclesfield on their travels. Yeah, they lost 4 altogether. One of those was in the trophy against Macclesfield, and one was in the FA Cup against Shrewsbury. But other than that, they were a really good team. They've only lost 3 league games, scoring 80 goals. That's not the highest, which I thought it might be. Because Fylde have got more with 86 goals, and Merthyr, as we know, free scoring with 84. So you only have to look at just that one stat, and you can see that there's going to be pressure on the Hereford defence at some stage. But it's not all about goals, because the other flip side is South Shields have got the best defence in the National League North. They've only conceded 30 goals from their 36 matches. Kidderminster the next best with 36, Fylde with 39. So Hereford supporters shouldn't just look at it and think, oh, well, they're going to be a threat up front. They're going to be difficult to break down because of their possession-based football. So it will really be a good game, I think, to watch. And South Shields have not lost since the 13th of December, and that was in the FA Trophy. So it's a 16-match unbeaten run, and they'd won 4 on the spin before Tuesday's draw at Chorley. So it really is, as I say, a big challenge, but I'm sure the Hereford players now, with that much more confidence within the squad, and there's players that are not necessarily starting that are desperate to play. So all in all, competition for places. So who knows? Battle Royal.
Yeah, it's a thrilling title race between South Shields and Fylde, the Mariners beating the Coasters by 2-1 on Tuesday, the 3rd of March. Having said all of that, Keith, Hereford just have to view it as a free hit.
Absolutely, the way that they're in form now, why not? And I thought actually it was one of the best performances from a Paul Caddis team up at South Shields, especially in that second half, but somehow they managed to lose by 2-1 in the end. I did feel Hereford deserved a draw up at South Shields back in October, but it wasn't to be. But at Edgar Street, it's one apiece, if you like. Hereford winning 3-0 back in August 2024, and then losing 3-0 in the January of the same year. Paul Blackett actually on the score sheet in one of those games. Likewise, Andy Williams scoring in one of those matches. So it's could be toe-to-toe action on Saturday. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Hereford hosting the league leaders South Shields, and then they're hosting second place Fylde on the Tuesday night, who beat Telford 2-1 last Tuesday, and they possess the league's top scorer, Danny Ormerod, Keith, who has 26 goals in 32 appearances.
Yeah, he looks very clinical, doesn't he, when he gets in and around the penalty box. He tends to hit the target 9 times out of 10, and it's up to the goalkeeper predominantly to try and keep them out, because he makes late runs in. We saw it up at Fylde earlier in the season. He can peel away out to the flanks, and you think, well, he won't pose too much of a danger out there, but all of a sudden he'll drop the shoulder, work his way in, and as I say, is a very composed finisher indeed, probably destined for higher level, as we see a lot of National League North strikers. If they do well in this division, they soon get picked up from either the National League or indeed the Football League. And I think he's got time on his side, so I don't see why he won't break into a Football League side. I think he's a very useful striker indeed. He's not the most physical looking striker, and yet he's a bit angular, if you know what I mean. He's prepared to mix it if he needs to, and if he can get a yard of space, he'll be an asset for Fylde at Edgar Street. But I actually, of the two games, I actually think Hereford are more likely to beat Fylde than they are to South Shields. But who knows? It'll all be down to whether Hereford can have that courage, be bold, have that intensity level that we've seen since Aaron Downs arrived. And they need to be lively. Here's a good word for you, zippy. Can they get that ball moving across the pitch as quick as South Shields and as quick as Fylde? If they can, it's definitely going to be game on.
I think you may be justified, Keith, in thinking Hereford have a better chance against Fylde than South Shields, because in both games this season, in the reverse fixture where they suffered late heartbreak up in the northwest, and then in the FA Trophy game, which was Hereford's last home game before their extended break, they went toe-to-toe.
Yeah, they did. I thought Hereford actually might win up at Fylde. It was certainly 1-1 with, minutes ago of added time, something like that. Hereford actually looking to score at one end. And then, it was Fylde who raced up the other end of the pitch, got the ball in. I think it was Ustabasi who finished it off from about 8 yards out, past Theo Richardson. And I felt really gutted because I thought Hereford again deserved something out of the game. And that's why I think these two games might be a different challenge. It won't be the physical, aggressive nature of Worksop, for example. It'll probably be, skill level coming into it, whether you can pick a pass, whether you're going to find space. And team that does that the best will probably come out winners. But we've got real threats in the team now. And if they're on top of their game, they're going to give both teams, South Shields and Fylde, a handful. There'll be a different challenge for them as opposed to when Hereford played them on their own pitch earlier in the season.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Bullscast. Don't forget you can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as our social media pages. Until the next time, it's bye for now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.